Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the 2023 mid-year top 10s, as we are going to look at the 126-pound featherweight division and the top 10 and what's going on there. Before we get into all that, if you guys could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I try to build my channel up here. And anything negative you want to say, or if you don't like what I'm doing, you can give me a thumbs down and let me know in the comments what you don't like about what I'm doing. I'm okay with it. So the mid-year top 10s basically are, you know, I know the end of the year top 10s, I go all out. I do an individual video on each guy in the top 10. I really enjoy those. Those are my favorite thing. But I really love doing my mid-years because I get to do it all in one video. If you guys can hang with me, it's about 10 to 15 minutes. It's not long. It's just what these guys have done, you know, up until now. It's basically re-ranking them based on how I think the top 10s are now. And then, you know, based on what's happened, and then giving you an update going forward. These aren't official. My end of years are official. So that's that. So let's get it going. We start with the guys that I have dropping out of the top 10 right now. And there's three of them, highest to lowest. First is previous number one, Emmanuel Navarrete. Yes, we're going to have a new number one. It's not because Navarrete lost, though. In February, he moved up to 130 as expected. He challenged for the vacant title against Australian Liam Wilson. He defeated him by TKO in the 9th round to capture the 130-pound title. Vacated the featherweight title. So he's officially a super featherweight now. Also dropping out is former WBC champion Mark Magsayo. Now Magsayo fought and lost to Brandon Figueroa by a close decision. I was going to keep Magsayo here at 126 because he hadn't officially made his move to 130 or scheduled a fight. But then I looked at the governing body rankings, and he's actually ranked at 130 pounds. He's not ranked in any of the 4 governing bodies at featherweight. He's ranked at super featherweight 130. So for me, that means he is not coming back down to 126. And again, these aren't official until the end of the year. So if he does move back to 126, then I'll re-rank him at 126 then. But he dropped out. And then also dropping out is former longtime WBC champion Gary Russell Jr. He dropped out due to inactivity. He hasn't fought since February or January of last year when he lost to Magsayo. And, you know, because of his inactivity, even though he says he's moving to 130, you know, it's pretty much inactivity why he's dropping out. You know, and when he comes back, it's likely going to be at 130, even though who the hell knows with the guy who has, you know, proclaimed himself as Santa Claus because he only gives us the gift of fighting once a year. So that's what I got on the guys that have dropped out. Now we're going to look at the guys that are in the top 10, you know, still in the top 10 or new to the top 10. Number 10, he previously was tied for 10th, is former, now 2-time world title challenger, Michael Conley. Michael Conley returned in May, at the end of May, and everybody thought, myself included, that he was going to finally win a world title based on how he lost last year to Lee Wood. He went in against Luis Alberto Lopez, and this time he wasn't so lucky to make it to the end of the fight. He got knocked out off of an uppercut in the 5th round. Tough loss for him. Michael Conley, we know, is good enough to compete against top 10 fighters, but now 2 knockouts in 2 consecutive years, 2 knockout losses. He's going to have to reevaluate. I don't know if he still makes the top 10 at the end of the year, but for now, he's still in it. But, yeah, tough loss for him in a fight that he was at home, and a lot of people, myself included, thought he was going to win. Number 9 is former multiple-time world title challenger Joet Gonzalez. He's the WBO's number 1 contender. He actually was not ranked coming in. I had him just out of the top 10, but because of just guys dropping out and stuff, he comes back in. He's 1-0 so far this year. He defeated a guy named Vivas by a 10-round unanimous decision to stay in it. Gonzalez wants a title shot. He's actually called out Luis Alberto Lopez, but Lopez, I believe, is probably going to have to make a mandatory defense of his IBF title in the second half of this year, because the Michael Conlan fight was an optional defense, and I think he's going to have to make a mandatory against the guy that beat Kiko Martinez, this Japanese fighter who's #1 in the IBF. I think Luis Alberto Lopez will have to face him first. So Joet Gonzalez, but I do believe, since he's a #1 contender, I believe he's going to get a mandatory shot against Robesai Ramirez at the end of this year, who's the WBO champion. That's what I believe is going to happen later this year, but we'll see. But Gonzalez definitely is in the mix, and there's 2 champions with top rank, so he definitely is going to have an opportunity to fight for something big next. Number 8, moving up 2 spots from being tied for 10th, is former 122-pound champion Isaac Dogboe. Now, it's not a lot of times that you lose a fight and you move up, and he lost convincingly. He fought for the vacant WBO title against Robesai Ramirez in April. He came up short. He lost a unanimous decision, but he fought hard and better than most people expected. And you know, he really gave what's his name a good fight. But like I said, came up short, lost a convincing decision, but he really showed a lot of heart and showed that he still belongs and that he's a tough guy. So Isaac Dogboe still banging around. He's the WBC and WBO's #5 contender. Maybe before the end of the year he can get into another eliminator, or at the very least, you know, shake off the rest of that loss and bounce back into the mix. We'll see what he does. Number 7 is the newly crowned WBO champion, Robesai Ramirez. He wasn't ranked coming in. He fought for the vacant title against Dogboe. As we talked about, defeated him decisively, but struggled a little bit because Dogboe is a tough guy. And I thought he was going to dominate Dogboe. That didn't happen, but he ended up walking away with a clean decision, is now your WBO champ. He's fighting some Japanese fighter named, really an unknown guy, Shimizu. He's 11-1 or 10-1 with 11 knockouts, and he's I think he's 11-1 with 10 knockouts, and he's getting the crack at a title on the Inoue Fulton undercard. So this guy is coming to fight, but I think this is just kind of a setup fight for Robesai, who's gonna get his initial defense in, keep his world title, and then push forward. And I think before the end of the year, he's either gonna have a mandatory defense against Joet Gonzalez, which I think is the more likely, or he could get a unification bout with Luis Alberto Lopez. So I think big things are coming. He's gonna have a decent sized fight or a big unification fight before the end of the year. Number 6 is former IBF champion Josh Warrington, who's the current WBC #1 ranked contender. He moves up 3 spots from number 9. He didn't fight in the first half of the year, but he's penciled in to be fighting Lee Wood, either for the WBA title or no title on the line, maybe in September. Lee Wood regained the WBA title, and now Eddie Hearn wants to make Wood versus Warrington, but Lee Wood might be in mandatory mode. So they're saying there's a chance Lee Wood could vacate the title to still fight Warrington. I think they're gonna fight whether it's for the title or not. I think they will probably ask for an exception to get Warrington to fight Lee Wood, but we'll see. But I think it's gonna happen. I don't know who wins that fight. I think it could go either way, to be honest. So at the end of the year, Josh Warrington could be walking out as your new WBA champion. Number 5, dropping 3 spots from number 2, is reigning WBC champion Ray Vargas. He moved up to 130 in February and lost to Ashaki Foster for the vacant WBC title. He hasn't returned yet, but he's likely going to be fighting interim champion Brandon Figueroa next in a mandatory fight. Now, we don't know for sure, but I'm hoping that is the case because I really want to see those 2 guys lock horns. If that fight happens, I think Vargas is going to take an L. I think he's going to lose that fight. But I do think he's a very good fighter that could pull out the victory. But I just think Brandon Figueroa will overwhelm him. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, I'm hoping that fight gets signed and sealed very soon. Number 4, actually, he's tied for 3rd. He moves up pretty much 2 spots from previously number 5, and that is former 122-pound champion and now the current WBC interim champion, Brandon Figueroa. He fought for the vacant interim title in March and defeated former champ Mark Magsayo by a hard-fought 12-round unanimous decision. The judges got it wrong with the scoring. They scored it wide. It wasn't a blowout the way it scored. It was a good fight. They went back and forth, but Figueroa was the deserving winner in my opinion. He's the interim champ now. He should be getting Ray Vargas next, and if he does, I think the next WBC champion will be Brandon Figueroa, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully that fight gets signed and sealed sometime soon. Also tied for 3rd is the former WBA champion Mauricio Lara. Wow. So Mauricio Lara came in to the year number 6. He goes in against Lee Wood in, I think it was February, and he knocks Lee Wood out in 7 rounds in a fight that he was losing convincingly on the scorecards. But he knocks him out. Then they signed on for a rematch at the end of May, and Mauricio Lara misses weight. So the belt was stripped from him. The fight went forward, but an unfocused, in my opinion, Mauricio Lara, who couldn't fight for the vacant title, lost by a 12-round decision to Lee Wood. And now, you know, I still have him ranked 3rd. I still think he's very dangerous. I hope he stays at 126, but I wouldn't be surprised if he moves to 130. But because of the uncertainty from that, I still have him ranked right here. He's actually, his highest ranking is number 6 by the WBC. And I just hope he comes back and shakes off that loss, whether it's at 126 or 130. I think it's possible on either end, but I just hope he comes back at some point before the end of the year and shakes off that loss, wherever the better fights are for him. But he might struggle to get a big fight due to him being so dangerous and his punching power. Number 2 is the newly crowned and once again WBA regular champion Lee Wood. He came in and lost the title. He came in as champion, lost the title to Mauricio Lara when he was ahead on the scorecards and he got stopped. He had an automatic rematch clause in the contract, and he invoked that, and the two went to rematch, as I just said, and Mauricio Lara missed weight, so Lee Wood went in there for the vacant title and defeated an overweight Mauricio Lara by a convincing decision, and is once again the WBA champion. And as I said, he's supposed to fight Josh Warrington next. That's what what's his name wants to do. He might have to make a mandatory defense, but they said there's an option, there's a possibility that he vacates the WBA belt just to get the showdown with Josh Warrington. I think he's fighting Warrington. I think it could go either way. He could beat him, he could lose to him, but I also think there's a good chance he doesn't walk out of the year as champion, whether he fights him or not. So we'll see what happens. And then finally, finishing number 1, moving up 6 spots from number 7, is the reigning IBF champion, Luis Alberto Lopez. This guy, he went in against Michael Conlan in a fight a lot of people thought he was going to lose, and he knocked Michael Conlan the fuck out in the 5th round. Big time win. He defeated Josh Warrington at the end of last year, so he's got 2 very credible, very good wins, and I just think it was enough to bring him all the way up to number 1 in a wide open division. So that could change. We could see everything change based on what everybody does. But Luis Alberto Lopez, in my opinion, right now has earned it. What does he do before the end of the year? I honestly believe he's going to get a mandatory. I think it's 1 of 3 options. I think he's either going to make a mandatory. That's the most likely thing, because he was the optional. He made that was an optional defense against Michael Conlan. So he's likely going to have to make a mandatory against the Japanese fighter Abe that defeated Kiko Martinez this year. He's probably going to have to defend against him, and I think he would beat him. The second option would be a possible unification bout with WBO champion Robesai Ramirez, which is big. And then the third option is a showdown with Joet Gonzalez, who is waiting in the wings for one of the 2 champions. So I personally feel he's going to fight Abe and he'll beat him, retain his title, and then look forward to a unification next year. But we'll see. Again, it's a wide open division. So that's it. That's my 2023 mid-year top 10s for the 126-pound featherweight division. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.